In this episode, I'm going to show you 3 things you can do to get the most out of your wide-angle lens.
Adorama TV presents Exploring Photography with Mark Wallace.
Hi everybody, welcome to this episode of Exploring Photography right here on Adorama TV. I'm Mark Wallace coming to you from a very hot and noisy Hanoi street here in Vietnam. Well, one of the most challenging things for any photographer is shooting with a wide-angle lens. Now, the reason for that is we tend to think of wide-angle lenses as lenses that can get everything in the shot, and that's fantastic. But one of the problems with that is when we get everything in the shot, sometimes, and a lot of the times actually, we just don't have any subject. So we just have everything and really nothing draws our eye into the photo. So in this episode, I'm going to give you 3 tips to get the most out of your wide-angle lens. And first I'm going to show you some photos I've shot with a couple of wide-angle lenses, and then we're going to put it into practice. I'm going to be walking the streets and shooting with my 21mm lens right here. Well, first let's take a look at a few shots and walk through the 3 things that you can do to get the most out of your lens. The first thing is to make sure you have a dominant or predominant subject in your photo. Now, one of my favorite wide-angle lenses is the Canon 16 to 35mm lens, and I've shot all over the world with that. I shot this image of Machu Picchu with that lens, and notice that Machu Picchu is obviously the subject of this photo, but using the wide-angle lens, I get everything in that shot. I also was able to take that to the Amazon rainforest, and I shot this image, a couple of images of a river. But notice, I don't just have the entire river, I have an anchor to those photos. Those are the boats that are on the shore. So I'm anchoring that wide-angle shot with a dominant subject, the boats. Now I'm also able to use this shot in a very busy commercial complex in downtown Bangkok, and notice this street. We have this sort of a 3-dimensional effect of the wide-angle lens. It's one of the reasons we use wide-angle lenses. It pulls our eye into that subject, but the shopping center is definitely the dominant subject in this photo. Well, that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing we need to do is to get closer to our subject. Now that is really, if there's anything I'd like you to take away from this video, that's it. When you're using a wide-angle lens, it's really an up-close lens. Now if you're using a mirrorless camera like my Leica here, or Sony A7, or many of the mirrorless cameras, you can't get too close with the wide-angle lens. If you're using a DSLR though, with a lens like the 16 to 35, you can get inches away from your subject. And a lot of these pictures that I shot, I was very, very close. In fact, on Lake Titicaca, I shot this picture of this boat. The boat is our dominant subject. I was about maybe 12 inches from the front of that boat, really, really close. But because that lens is so wide, you can't really see it. Now, I met with 2 amazing photographers in Argentina. This is Mag and Martin, Mag Alvarez and Martin Apelde. They are the inspiration for me to go and shoot Patagonia. They taught me all this stuff about where to go and what to do. This shot of them was taken with my 21mm lens at about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet away from them. Here's Mag signing her book that she did on New York City. It's really an amazing shot. I was extremely close. You can see this shot of some people I shot on a subway. I was just about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet from these people that are falling asleep on the subway. So get close, get close, get close when you're using a wide-angle lens. If nothing else, hear me say, get close. Now this third thing that you can do with a wide-angle lens, because it gives you that 3D feel, it's pulling you in, leading lines, those lines that lead us into photos can be used to our advantage. So when you're framing your shot, try to frame your shots so that lines are leading us into our image. All right, now that we know those 3 things, what we want to do is head out here in Hanoi and put them all into practice. So let's do that next. All right, one of the advantages of using a wide-angle lens, and you have to pardon the music, it's being blasted down the streets. We're not sure why, but evidently it's a public feature here in Hanoi. But one of the wide-angle lens features is that you get extreme field of sharpness. You have everything in focus from the beginning to the end. Now this very nice lady here has allowed me to take pictures of her vegetable stand. I shot some images earlier, and I was able to get the vegetables right in front of the lens all the way to her, totally in focus, and using these steps as the leading lines to point us from the vegetables to the owner of this shop. And I really like this picture, and it uses all of the 3 things that we talked about earlier. Getting close, having a predominant feature or subject in our frame, and using leading lines. Well, Hanoi has all kinds of very interesting little alleyways like this one. Now what I could do, and I have done, is to stand back, use my wide angle lens to get this entire entryway and the alley. You see everything, I got everything in the shot, but it doesn't really pull us into the scene. So what I can do is use two of those things I talked about earlier, getting closer and using leading lines to pull me into the subject. So this sign right here, if I really fill the frame with this is my dominant subject or my foreground interest. I can also use these lines right here to pull a viewer into the scene and point their eyes to the back of the alley. And so I'll do just that. But I really want to stop this lens down to about 5.6. The sun's going down here and it's really sort of dark. So to shoot at 5.6 and still have a shutter speed of about 1/60th of a second, I've increased my ISO to ISO 800. A lot of people ask, Mark, why do you increase your ISO? It looks great. Well, on video, it looks like it's nice and bright, but in reality, it's sort of dark right now. We have about a half an hour before the sun goes down, so now you know why the ISO is pumped up. So let's take a shot of this. I'll get close, I'll compose the leading lines, and I'll show you the difference. So let's just take a look at this. You get right up there. There we go. I love that. That looks so much better. Now we can compare the wide angle shot to the closer shot with the leading lines, and I think you'll agree that the closer shot wins. Well, I got permission to take some pictures of these rolls and bamboo shoots here. Now first I'm going to do this the way that's the wrong way. I'm just going to take a wide angle shot of these rolls here, and you can see that it's just a street scene. There's not much to it. I need to get closer and show that as close as I can. So I'm going to get right in there, about like that, and now I can really frame this shot up the way I want. You can see that now this is the predominant thing in our shot. You can see that getting close is the better option. Well, there you have it, using a wide angle lens. Remember, have a predominant subject, get close to your subject and use leading lines, and you'll really get much better images. And if nothing else, please hear me say, get close, get close, get close. A wide angle lens is for close-up photography. I want to remind you that Exploring Photography is brought to you by Adorama. It's the camera store that you can get anything you can possibly imagine, any gear, any audio gear, any video gear, tripods, you name it. You can get it at adorama.com, so check that out. And the great thing about Adorama is they don't just sell you the gear, they are going to support you with free education, and you can get all that education right here on YouTube. Just click the subscribe button, and that way you get all of Adorama TV absolutely free. You won't miss a single episode. And in addition to that, there is the Adorama Learning Center. There's tons of articles, hundreds, maybe thousands even, of articles about everything that is conceivable about photography and videography and post-production. Check that out. We have links to the Adorama Learning Center here. And again, it's absolutely free. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again next time.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy to use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.